Patton Sports Videocast is brought to you by Snap Laces. Snap Laces' elite lacing system was designed for world-class athletes. They come in hundreds of color combinations so you can perform well and look great at the same time. Buy a set online today by clicking through the top image on mopattonsports.com. LT360 is a health and weight loss company based in Brentwood, led by Coach Scott Oatsvall and Brent High. They have helped more than 700 clients in the last year get healthy, lose weight, and feel better with an all-natural program and simple approach to exercise and nutrition. LT360 offers free health and wellness seminars each week. For more information, visit their website at lt360.com or call them at 615-312-8244. Whether you are looking for seafood, vegetarian options, or delicious fresh prepared meats, Tzatziki's Mediterranean Cafe has menu items that are sure to satisfy. The recipes are all made fresh and inspired by Mediterranean cuisine. Tzatziki's is open for lunch and dinner and provides catering for events, both large and small. Order your favorite entree by using the To-Go Order app on your phone. Tzatziki's is more than a restaurant. It's a take on the idea that great food brings people together. Visit Tzatziki'sCafe.com for a listing of locations in the Nashville area. I want to welcome you guys into Patton Sports Videocast as we head into the state semifinals in Division 1. I'm Maurice Patton along with Kevin Smith, and a lot of hot ball games as would be dictated by this point in the postseason bracket. We're out here at Independence. Got a big game on Friday night against Centennial. It's being called the biggest game in Williamson County high school football history. We'll get back to it in a second. Want to remind you all to check out our Facebook page, Mopatton Sports. All of our audio content, all of our video content, a lot of great high school stuff is up there, so be sure and check that out. And also want to invite you to get involved in our Beat Mostradamus contest. My picks will be up on the website under the pull-down tab, Beat Mostradamus. Send your picks in to Beat Mostradamus at mopattonsports.com. The winners will go into a hat to be drawn for a gift card to Tzatziki's Mediterranean Cafe. So check that out. Kevin, want to get started down in Class 1A with Columbia Academy. Stunning win last week over at South Pittsburgh, 56-28. They go up to Greenback over in East Tennessee. Greenback won their quarterfinal game 56-28 on the road against Harriman. So a couple of teams that won big road games to get to the semifinals and get within one win of the state championship game.
Yeah, I know Columbia Academy is they're going to earn their trip if they are fortunate enough to survive and advance and make the state championship game by playing a South Pittsburgh team who has a lot of history in the state of Tennessee in football, and then Greenback, who is another school that has a lot of history in the state of Tennessee. What an impressive win in the fact that Columbia Academy was down early. It was kind of a back and forth game, got down a couple of scores, but were able to come back and then end up dominating the game in the second half. Columbia Academy is not surprised to be here, Mo. From the very beginning of the season, talking to Coach Lansdale, he had a senior class that has been preparing for this moment. They felt like they had a good line with some good skill players, and they've won a lot of ball games over the last couple of years and learned how to win, and now they're in the playoffs, and they're trying to take that next step for their program to get to a state championship game. I really like the way this team is built as far as their sling tee, is what they like to call it, their wing tee, where they spread some people out and still run some wing tee, and a defense that flies around.
Yeah, they went to the quarterfinals each of the last 2 years and got knocked out. This year they made that next step into the semis, like you said. Got a nice senior core with receiver Taylor Thompson, who apparently is being looked at by Wisconsin. And then quarterback who is a Lipscomb Academy transfer, Dylan Johnson, and their Mr. Do-Everything, Thomas Garrison, plays running back, plays safety, and kicks, and was a Mr. Football semifinalist for Kicker of the Year. So, like you said, they've got that senior core. Those are probably their three main players, and in Class 1A, when you are a stud like that, you play a lot. So they've gotten a lot of mileage out of those guys.
I'm interested to see if their defense can play a little bit better to start the game. And a lot of those guys are going both ways, so there is some wear down factor there. But Greenback will be doing the same thing. Columbia Academy has proven all year they can score on anybody, including an FRA team that was undefeated that, Columbia Academy went for 2 for the win and still scored 40 points in that ball game. But can they get enough defensive stops or turnovers to give their offense the ball so that they can continue to score is the question for me, because Greenback can also also score. And it's going to be interesting to see which defense can kind of step up and make a few plays.
You mentioned Columbia Academy's only loss to Franklin Road Academy in their season opener. They've won 12 games since then. The concern, as you said, is Greenback is primarily a run-dominated offense, and they rushed for 382 yards on 31 carries in that win against Harriman last week. So, you know, if they can grind it out and shorten the game up and pound on Columbia Academy's defense, will the Bulldogs have something left in the fourth quarter? So that would kind of be my concern with that ball game for them.
And it keeps Columbia Academy's offense on the sidelines that has been scoring all these points. So yeah, absolutely. Greenback, they need to establish the run, control the clock, keep Columbia Academy off the field. And like you just mentioned, the game they did lose to Franklin Road Academy had success running the football, and that in turn wears you down. So Columbia Academy is going to have to find a way to find some stops and get some turnovers and give their offense a short field.
Also in 1A, Middle Tennessee's got a chance to have both the teams that will be in that championship game, because Nashville Christian catches Peabody coming to town Friday night.
This is a game, kind of a mental block for Nashville Christian, in the sense that they've had trouble in this game in the last couple of years. They're kind of the up-and-comer in 1A since Coach Brothers has got there. He's done a phenomenal job with this program, but they got to get over the hump, and this is the game. And Union City's not sitting there because Peabody snapped their 30-something game win streak a couple of weeks ago. And then in another impressive win last week against a Dresden team that was 11-2, that a lot of people thought, 11-1, thought was a contender, and shut them out. And this is two teams that they lost to in the regular season, and they've now come back and beaten the playoffs, and they're getting a lot of contributions from a lot of really good skill players. Peabody will be a very dangerous team coming to town Friday night.
And it starts with their quarterback, Kendrick Malone, who had a really good ball game in last year's championship win. Peabody won 2A last year, dropped down to 1A this time around. So, you know, while they knocked off a Union City, it might be out of the frying pan and into the fire for a Nashville Christian team that's now making their fourth straight semifinal berth, looking for that first berth in the championship game. They lost 3 years ago to Huntington. They lost each of the last 2 years to Union City. So now they've got them out of the way, but they got to deal with this Peabody team coming out of West Tennessee.
And you know, Mo, I think some people kind of slept on Peabody going into the regular season. I know it's hard to sleep on an 8-2 team, but they were number 3 in their region with losses to Union City and Dresden, and really Dresden kind of beat up on them. Mm-hmm. And so they were kind of an afterthought in the playoffs, even though they are the defending 2A state champions. So they've been able to find a way to get it together and put it together with some of their playmakers. And again, an impressive win, a shutout win over Dresden. Nashville Christian has so much talent, mm-hmm. and a guy that Slater Howard, that we haven't even talked about all year, stepped up. If Nashville Christian can get role players that aren't necessarily their star players to step up, that's how you win and make it to championship ball games, is when your role players step up and make plays for you in big ball games.
You mentioned Peabody's 2 losses to Union City, 49-35, and to Dresden, 39-0. Malone missed some time in the middle of the season and was not at quarterback due to some off-field situations, I think. But and I think that probably contributed in those situations. But he really is a guy that makes them go. They won the championship game last year 34-7, and he was a big part of that. And just a fun kid to watch, unless you're coaching against him. Like you said, Nashville Christian, a lot of nice pieces. Daniel Batuli, the linebacker, who is a Mr. Football finalist, headed to UT. Mario McGraw has done a great job for him on both sides of the ball. Kyle Tidwell as well. So is Nashville Christian ready to make that next step and make that trip to Cookeville? We'll find out Friday night.
It kind of goes back to the game we just went over. Which defense can slow down 2 potent offenses who can score? I'm looking for turnovers and special teams. Mario McGraw brings an extra element to Nashville Christian, returning kickoffs and punts that could be the difference in this game. And turnovers are always big in the playoffs, but especially with 2 high-powered offenses who can turn the other team over and give their offense an extra possession.
In Class 3A, Liberty comes to Christ Presbyterian Academy. Liberty's undefeated at 13-0. They beat perennial West Tennessee powerhouse Milan 32-7 last week in the quarterfinals to get to this point.
Very impressive team. This is a Liberty team that handed it to Henry County, who was a 5A quarterfinalist, very easily early in the season. Kind of a shocker to the rest of the state of Tennessee, and how they played defense against Henry County and slowed them down. Liberty has a lot of pieces. They got good players up front. They got athletes on the edges. They can score in bunches, but they also fly around on defense and make plays, and they're going to have to do that against CPA. Can they slow down CPA's run game and then be able to defend CPA's timely play-action passes where they're hitting Price Purdue deep on 9 routes and vertical routes for touchdowns? That's going to be a big key in this game.
You know, that Liberty defense that you talk about, that 32-7 win last week, that was the first touchdown they had given up in the postseason, coming off back-to-back shutouts in the opening 2 rounds. So that Liberty defense comes to play. And like you said, Zach Weatherly, a quarterback, a Mr. Football finalist for CPA, they may have their work cut out for them on that side of the ball in this one.
And they better be disciplined, because what CPA will do a good job of is trying to out-formation them and get them in situations where CPA has more blockers than Liberty Tech has tacklers. And if Liberty Tech gets out-formationed or doesn't play sound football, then Chip Omar is going to get off. And we've seen Chip Omar. The young man can flat out play football. He's another guy who returns kickoffs. He's got multiple kickoff returns for touchdowns that gives them a different element to score points. So Liberty's going to have to be very sound defensively against CPA, trying to give them some mismatches with formations.
When we come back, we're going to get into some 4A, 5A, and 6A games. Going to give you a few picks, and want to remind you again to get your picks in as well. Beat Mostradamus at MoPattonSports.com. We'll be right back. John Mayer Builders proudly sponsors Mo Patton Sports Videocast. With over 1,500 homes built in Middle Tennessee, John Mayer Builders knows the importance of families and communities. They have numerous business awards to their credit, proving that John Mayer Builders is built to win. Like them on Facebook. John Mayer Builders, our reputation is building.
Southern Athletic Fields originated in 1996 when Bill Marbett formed a company specializing in baseball and softball field materials. SAF has since grown and now has sales reps to cover over 12 states with products servicing many outdoor sports. Southern Athletic Fields takes great pride in working with our customers to achieve the best athletic field possible. Visit our website at www.southern-athleticfields.com or like them on Facebook. Dirt, you gotta love it.
Great teams have talent. They also have the necessary tools for success. BSN Sports delivers these tools whether your team needs uniforms, apparel, or athletic equipment to achieve greatness. Just like a winning teammate, BSN Sports is there for you. Their unmatched service ensures that you have best-in-class equipment for championship-level performance, plus uniforms and athletic apparel from the best brands in the industry to look your best when hoisting your trophy. As an All-State agent in Murfreesboro, James Knight knows many local families. His knowledge and understanding of the people in this community helps him provide customers with an outstanding level of service. He helps families like yours protect the things that are important: your family, home, car, boat, and more. He's proud to work with a company like Allstate. As a small business owner, he understands the importance of building a solid foundation for the future and developing long-lasting customer relationships. When you leave his office, I hope you'll feel confident, informed, assured, and satisfied in your choices, the way you should feel. Kevin, in 4A, Marshall County goes on the road again after going to Chattanooga and picking up a 17-7 win at East Hamilton. They go back up east again over to Knoxville Catholic, a Knoxville Catholic team that comes in 9-4. Big matchup here. Yeah,
Knoxville Catholic had some injuries early on in the year. Actually came down to Nashville, played at Vanderbilt Stadium at CPA, and kind of got run out of Nashville in a game that was really one-sided. But they've gotten those players healthy, and when Catholic's healthy, they got some of the best playmakers in the state of Tennessee, starting with Amari Rogers, who's got offers from a lot of people in this country. He can score from anywhere. Another kid who can return kicks. They can give him the ball at slot. They can give him the ball in the backfield. He does a lot of things for him. And then they've got a huge line up front. The key for Mimo in this game is Marshall County, while they can score and have proven they can win big games as well against upper classification teams, is their defensive line has been very impressive over the last couple of weeks, getting after people, and their defense has come to play the last couple of weeks, and they're going to need that defensive line to be very active Friday night against a really good offense from Catholic.
You mentioned Amari Rogers. He's a Mr. Football finalist in 4A. Cade Mays, one of their top linemen, is a Mr. Football finalist. Marshall County counters with Ashton Posey, the quarterback who's thrown for more than 2,800 yards and 27 touchdowns. He's a Mr. Football finalist as well. And while Marshall County's passing attack gets a lot of attention, they've got one guy who's already rushed for 1,000, Josh Franklin, and another guy, Cameron Leggett, who is coming up on 1,000. So they can be balanced, and they're probably going to need to be this weekend.
I think that's a huge key. I absolutely love that. They need to be balanced against a Catholic defense that will blitz, bring pressure, and has some good players in the back in the secondary that can cause you problems and cause turnovers. So I think Marshall County is going to have to mix and match a little bit on offense, and then find a way defensively to be very active on the defensive line and cause some turnovers to give their offense more possessions.
You know, this is a Marshall County team that's got to be coming into this game with a lot of confidence. They lost 42-41 at Overton in the second week of the season. They've not lost since. 11 straight wins, so they've really been playing some good ball here and continued that into the playoffs.
And that was an impressive game, and I know they lost, but the fact they put up that many points against an athletic and very good defense in Overton tells us a lot about them. And a comeback win against a Maplewood team who had some kids come back from injury. Marshall County can play with anybody, and they got to be balanced Friday night against Catholic, and they've got to play really, really good defense and be active.
You talked about Knoxville Catholic, and they come in at 9-4. One of their losses was to reigning 4A state champion Fulton. They lost to them 34-23 during the regular season, turned around and beat Fulton 2 weeks ago 28-25. So, you know, that's a team that had just started putting Cookeville on their schedule here over the last few years. So to knock them out, they got to be feeling pretty good about themselves as well.
And a lot of it has to do with health, Mo. I mean, again, Catholic, they've had a lot of injuries this year, and it really had to build some young players, some new guys have kind of come into their system. So now that they got those young guys, a lot of reps, they've had a lot of games under their belt, and now they're healthy. Catholic is very dangerous, and they've proven that with a win over Fulton, and they've played a tough schedule. So anybody they go up against is not really going to, they're not going to be fearing them because they've played such good competition this year.
The winner of that game plays the winner of Memphis East and Pearl Cone. That game will be Friday night over at Pearl Cone. So Memphis East, the Mustangs, will be rolling into town Friday.
I like this for Pearl Cone in the sense that they didn't have to travel to Memphis. I mean, you got to factor in a little bit of that now that teams are traveling a little bit more for the semifinals. It's a long trip for a Memphis team. Got to stay disciplined on defense against a Pearl Cone team who has become more balanced with a very good passing game with Rotavius Groves and Jimmy Farrell. And they've got some pieces in Mr. Vaughn at running back, and now Mr. Parker, who's come on here late in the season, not only at running back, but returning kicks. Again, kind of sounds like a broken record, Mo, but when you get this late in the season, you get some bad weather, some cold weather, special teams and turnovers play a huge factor. And when you have guys who can score on special teams, it's such a luxury for your football team.
Almost feels like bonus points, doesn't it? Both these teams have a common opponent. Memphis East lost 31-14 at Muscle Shoals, Alabama in their season opener. Pearl Cone lost 49-20 at Muscle Shoals in week 6. That was their last loss. They've won seven straight since then. So both these teams again on a roll.
And as much as we talk about Jimmy Farrell and Rotavius Groves and the offense and special teams from Pearl Cone, since that loss, their defense has been lights out, giving up 7 points a game. And then just showed it again last week, shutting out a Springfield team who puts a lot of really good skill players on the field and holding them to 3 points. This Pearl Cone defense is part of the reason that they're making this march. And I like to say this, and it's not just because of being a former defense coordinator. Defense wins championships and gives your offense the ball back and allows them to score points. And Pearl Cone right now is putting together a defense that can lead them to a championship game and possibly win them the state championship.
Pearl Cone got to this point with a 33-3 win over Springfield, their second win over Springfield in about 4 weeks. Memphis East beat Lexington on the road 42-21 to get to here. So East comes in at 12-1, Pearl Cone's 9-4, like I said, with those 7 straight wins, and should be a dandy. In 5A, we are at the site, the scene of the crime, possibly, as Centennial comes out to Independence Friday night.
Elite defense versus an elite offense and a defense who gets no credit. So we're talking about Independence with the elite offense and a defense that has played really well this year and fly around and make plays versus Centennial defense is absolutely elite with one of the best players in the state of Tennessee in Terrell Dotson. This is a game. Can Centennial, the way they like to play defense, shut down the run game, slow down your screens and bubbles in your short passing game? Can they contain when they're playing man-to-man defense, and can they contain Independence's wide receivers and get to Andrew Bunch with some pressure? And can Independence take what the defense gives them and find ways to beat that pressure and mix in their run and pass? What a matchup as far as a chess game, and two coaches that are very good at what they do, anxious to see the game plan from both programs.
You talk about Independence's defense. The 20 points that they gave up in a 28-20 win over Hillsborough last week, that's the most points they've given up this year on defense. Centennial advances with a 25-0 win over Henry County, their second win against the Patriots in 4 weeks.
I go back to Centennial's offense too, that they have a veteran offensive line and a very good running game. Can they find any passing game against this Independence defense? Independence, on the flip side, defensively, I'm trying to win first and second down and put Centennial in third and long and force them to beat me passing the football. And if I do that, you got to feel like you have a great chance to win. Again, I'm really excited about this, and I say this again, two coaches, two game plans that I'm anxious to see who learned from the loss that Centennial took earlier in the year and has built up to this moment. Who's learned a couple new wrinkles that maybe can lead them to victory Friday night?
You mentioned the loss. Independence 49-6 back in week 2, I think it was, in this matchup. You're talking about two coaches in Brian Rector at Centennial and Scott Blade here at Independence, both of whom have won state championships. Rector won one over at Ravenwood, Blade won one over at Hillsborough. So you're talking about a couple of guys who have somewhat been there and done that, and I'm anxious to see, like you talked about, Centennial's defense matching up with Indy. Nate Johnson is a Mr. Football finalist at receiver, just as Tyrell Dodson is. What they're able to do with him, how they try to handle him, and what comes out of that situation.
And we talked about two programs and two coaches you were talking about. Both programs, however, are rewriting their history books. We're talking about an Independence team who now has the most wins in their history in a season. And we're talking about a Centennial team who has advanced now further than they ever have in their history. So congratulations to both programs. Really exciting for Williamson County football to have both of them here and playing this semifinal game. And it should be a classic matchup Friday night.
You know, regardless of who wins this game, Williamson County is going to have a team in the state finals, and they got a shot at 2. We'll get to the second one here in just a second. But the winner of this game catches the winner of Ray County and Sevier County out of East Tennessee. And Sevier County has got the kid Deuce Wallace, who's a Vanderbilt commitment at quarterback. So I'm kind of looking forward to seeing who comes out of that matchup as well. Ray County coached by former Brentwood coach Mark Pemberton, and that'll be a doozy of a matchup over there to keep an eye on as well.
Yeah, two different styles of offense. You got to spread it out, throw it all over the place, and then a foot-to-foot offensive line wing tee that'll just run it right at you, smash mouth type football. So two different contrasting styles, kind of see who's going to play out and win that one. It will be a tough matchup, whoever wins that game, for whoever wins the Centennial Independence game.
In 6A, speaking of Williamson County, Whitehaven comes up to Ravenwood. Both those teams come in at 12-1. Ravenwood went to Whitehaven last year in the state semifinals, picked up a 24-14 win to get to Cookeville.
Whitehaven is a program that year in and year out is a semifinal finalist type program. They just continue to do it. They've done a great job as a coaching staff of building a program that expects to win and expects to be in these situations, on top of the fact they have Division I talent all over the place that plays on Saturdays. Ravenwood, on the flip side, Mo, Will Hester has done a fantastic job with his coaching staff of building Ravenwood back up and giving them confidence in a team that was a 6A runner-up last year, right back in the semifinals again. Love Chris Rowland, love Andrew Rapay, Connor Jeffries, and a defense that's playing really well. Comes down again. Which defense can slow down the other offense just enough, cause a few turnovers, and maybe a Chris Rowland special teams play. Again, Ravenwood has the player who can give you the bonus points, give you a momentum boost, who can cause turnovers and give their offense an extra possession.
Whitehaven won the state championship in 2012. They've got a Mr. Football finalist in lineman Delvin Salter. What intrigues me about this matchup is Ravenwood won last week 55-35 against White Station. Whitehaven beat White Station 40-26 during the regular season, so I'm not sure how much you can draw from comparative scores, but that kind of tilts things a little bit toward Ravenwood to me.
If I'm taking anything from that, somebody's defense better do something to stop them at least one time. This could be an offensive, just like last week. Ravenwood had 527 yards of total offense. Might see another one of those if the weather is good. To me, it's going to come down to turnovers and who can get one stop here and there to give their offense the ball, because this could be a barn burner of a game with a lot of points being put on the scoreboard.
Whitehaven advanced with a 53-16 win over a Wilson Central team that really made a nice run here in the postseason after going 4-6.
You got to give credit to Wilson Central and their staff getting in the playoffs and getting their kids to believe that they can win a couple of games. Again, when you come in at 4-6, a lot of people aren't expecting anything from you. Congratulations to them for making a nice little run to the quarterfinals for their program.
In the other Class 6A semifinal game, we've got Oakland making the trip to Maryville.
I love this. This is a rematch from last year with a brand new coaching staff. So some people think, well, maybe they know each other really well, but Coach Creasy brings a completely different kind of philosophy to this Oakland team than Coach McDaniel did. To me, this comes down to, Mo, we've got an offense in Maryville that's averaging 42 points a game. We have a defense in Oakland who is giving up only 12 points a game. And you got to ask yourself, when something's going to have to give there. So now I look at it like this: is Oakland's offense better than Maryville's defense? Because we know how good Oakland's defense is. Defense wins championships, Mo. Can Oakland's defense do enough to slow down Maryville's high-powered offense?
Got a couple of Mr. Football finalists that work in this ball game as well. T.D. Blackman, the fantastic linebacker for Maryville, who had the game-saving pass breakup last year in the championship game against Ravenwood. Jacoby Stevens, the do-it-all kid for Oakland, the junior, who this week decommitted from LSU. A little bit of fallout from the pending coaching situation down there in Baton Rouge. So there's going to be some talent on the field for this one.
A lot of talent, a lot of people you'll see playing on Saturdays. Maryville's quarterback, a sophomore, very good-looking athlete who does a great job of throwing the ball and in their zone read run game. We got a lot of guys on the Oakland side. We've talked about Ty Nix at defensive line, Caleb Oliver in the secondary, LaDarius Patterson at running back. There's a gamut of good players that are going to be playing in this football game. It's going to be an exciting, really top-notch level of play high school football game. If you really want to see two sound football teams playing against each other Friday night, at Maryville would be a good one to go to.
When we come back, we're going to go through our picks from last week and see how we did. Going to make some picks for this week's games, and again, invite you to make some as well. Beat Mostradamus at mopattonsports.com. We'll be right back. Whether you are looking for seafood, vegetarian options, or delicious fresh prepared meats, Tzatziki's Mediterranean Cafe has menu items that are sure to satisfy. The recipes are all made fresh and inspired by Mediterranean cuisine. Tzatziki's is open for lunch and dinner and provides catering for events, both large and small. Order your favorite entree by using the To-Go Order app on your phone. Tzatziki's is more than a restaurant. It's a take on the idea that great food brings people together. Visit Tzatziki'sCafe.com for a listing of locations in the Nashville area. At National Playmakers Academy, developing NPA athletes comes in threes. NPA develops its student athletes' academic, social, and football-specific skills. Next, NPA develops them for better exposure today, recruitment tomorrow, and college education through scholarships for the rest of their lives. We are proud of the outstanding athletes we have developed. We are more proud of the college graduates we have prepared. Work with National Playmakers Academy for developing gifted athletes into productive citizens. I2, Integrity Insurance. I2 Agency was started with one primary focus in mind: helping people. As a multi-line insurance agency, we do that in a variety of ways with a full portfolio of products. Whether it's life, health, dental, Medicare, annuities, or home and auto insurance, we design solutions that will meet your individual needs. Logo My Logo continually beats the competition by 3 points. Service, expertise, selection. Beyond promotional products, Logo My Logo delivers incredible service to its clients. Their service is only matched by their marketing expertise in presenting their clients in the most professional light. Logo My Logo's broad selection means that their clients have multiple options to communicate their brand strongly. Premier marketing solutions require service, expertise, and selection, and Logo My Logo keeps finding a way to win by those 3 points. Kevin, last week in the quarterfinal round for Division I, semifinals for Division II, obviously, Oakland defeated Smyrna 21-14 in overtime. I think we both had the Patriots in that one.
Both did. Casey Perkins was a difference coming back for Smyrna, but Oakland made plays when they needed to, scoring on the first play of overtime on offense and stopping Smyrna on 4th and goal. Congratulations to Oakland.
Indy, as we mentioned, 28, Hillsborough 20. We thought that this might be the biggest challenge that Independence faces in the postseason, and sure enough, it was.
It was, and they hung on, and kudos to Independence for hanging on when things kind of got a little adversity hit. Independence was able to show you that they can also win a close ball game, even though they've been in a lot of blowouts this year.
Centennial 25, Henry County nothing. We both had the Cougars.
Shocked a little bit at the score because we thought Henry County might have found something, but it just goes to show you how good and elite that Centennial's defense is.
Nashville Christian knocked off previously undefeated Wayne County 34-21.
Did a good job of converting Wayne County's turnovers into points and staying sound on their side and not turning the ball over.
We both had the Eagles in that one. We both had the Eagles in this one. Brentwood Academy 24, Baylor 7.
A little closer than I thought. I thought maybe BA would run away there at the end, but good job by BA of getting out early and then kind of hanging on there when Baylor got a little momentum.
And speaking of things that fly, the Firebirds of Pearl Cone 33, Springfield 3.
Yeah, a little bigger than we thought too, but man, Pearl Cone's defense is playing fantastic football right now, and if they can continue this the way they're playing, we might see them in Cookeville next week.
You know what? With the talent and with the job that Tony Brunetti has done over an extended period of time, that would be fun to see. Mo Patton Sports Videocast is brought to you by Snap Laces. Snap Laces' elite lacing system was designed for world-class athletes. They come in hundreds of color combinations so you can perform well and look great at the same time. Buy a set online today by clicking through the top image on mopattonsports.com. LT360 is a health and weight loss company based in Brentwood, led by Coach Scott Oatsvall and Brent High. They have helped more than 700 clients in the last year get healthy, lose weight, and feel better with an all-natural program and simple approach to exercise and nutrition. LT360 offers free health and wellness seminars each week. For more information, visit their website at lt360.com or call them at 615-312-8244. John Mayer Builders proudly sponsors Mo Patton Sports Videocast. With over 1,500 homes built in Middle Tennessee, John Mayer Builders knows the importance of families and communities. They have numerous business awards to their credit, proving that John Mayer Builders is built to win. Like them on Facebook. John Mayer Builders, our reputation is building. Let's take a shot at a few of these. It's usually 6, but we've got 8 games involving mid-state teams this week, so we're gonna pick 8. Stretch ourselves out a little bit for Thanksgiving. Columbia Academy going to Greenback. What do you think, Adam?
Like Columbia Academy, the schedule they've played this year, they have a belief that they're supposed to do it. Been in the quarterfinals 2 straight years. They're ready to take the next step. Columbia Academy's offense wins this ball game. You know,
I like Columbia Academy in this one from an offensive standpoint. I am concerned about their defense being able to get off the field against Greenback's run game. I'm going to take the Bulldogs in this one with an asterisk. We'll see how it goes. In Class 3A, Class 1A again, Peabody comes to Nashville Christian.
I'm going to go with Peabody. 2A defending state champions. They know how to get it done. They've gotten some injured players back. 2 monster wins against very, very good programs. I think they come here to Nashville and upset Nashville Christian Friday night.
I think it would be an upset, but I just think Nashville Christian is finally ready to get over that hump. Like you said, I think that maybe that mental block of Union City may be gone. They may be ready to go out and play their best ball. I think they're going to win this ball game. I think it's going to be a close one, but I think I like Nashville Christian here. In 3A, Liberty comes to CPA, the defending 3A state champs.
Gonna have to go with the defending 3A state champs and CPA. I think they'll play just good enough defense. They've had a little trouble stopping the run this year, but they've gotten on a little roll here in the playoffs. And I think they're going to be able to out-formation Liberty a little bit and hit a big play. So I'm going to go with CPA in a very close physical ball game Friday night.
I like CPA in this one just from the standpoint that I think they will be able to get more done offensively than Liberty will. I think Liberty's defense will keep it close, but I think CPA can come up with enough plays on the offensive side of the ball to advance and get back to Cookeville again. In 4A, Marshall County makes that road trip to Knox Catholic.
I like Marshall County, and this is a long road trip for them, but I like the way their offense is becoming a little bit more balanced. And I've talked about this, but I think their defensive line is disruptive enough to take Catholic out of their run game and then put pressure on the quarterback. Marshall County in another close ball game.
I agree entirely. I think it will be a close ball game, but I think Marshall County has what it takes to go on the road and pull out another win. I think they started to show that last week down at East Hamilton. I like Marshall County here. The other side of that 4A bracket, Memphis East at Pearl County.
Love Pearl County. I think their defense is going to show up again, cause a lot of problems for Memphis East, and Pearl County has proven and shown that they can score on anybody at any time. Pearl County, key for them, it's always about penalties, drive-killing penalties, and giving the other team more possessions by giving them first downs. Stay away from penalties and turnovers. Pearl County wins big.
Big? Wow. I think Pearl County wins. I'm not sure about the big, but I think Pearl County is ready to take that next step as well. They've been to this spot on a couple of occasions, run into a couple of buzzsaws, Memphis Tresvant, somebody like that. I think they're ready this week and this time to get to Cookeville. I like the Firebirds here. In 5A, let's go to 6A first. Whitehaven and Ravenwood.
I like Ravenwood. I just like the way they're playing. I like the pieces they have in place. And I like their coaching staff for putting together a good game plan. And what a trip it is to get here from Memphis. I think that's going to cause some issues. Ravenwood back in the 6A finals again for 2 years in a row. What an accomplishment that will be if that happens Friday night.
I like Ravenwood in this ballgame. I just like the way they're playing right now. And while we've talked so much about their offensive pieces with Rapay, with Rowland, with Jeffries, that defense is getting it done. And, you know, they gave up 35 points against a really explosive White Station team last week. But they are stopping folks, and I like them in this one. I like Ravenwood. Oakland Maryville.
I'm predicting an all-Middle Tennessee final in 6A. I like Oakland to avenge last year's loss. And I say this because Oakland's defense is going to win a championship for them over a Maryville and snap a 43-game winning streak. And an appearance that Maryville's going for their 12th straight state championship appearance. I like Oakland's offense to be better than Maryville's defense, and we already know Oakland's defense is elite. Oakland wins in a very close ball game and makes it an all-Middle Tennessee final.
For you guys in East Tennessee, that's at K_Smith33 on Twitter. So aim those at him.
Look forward to it.
I have a tough time, and I love what Kevin Creasy has done at Oakland this year. I love their pieces. I have a tough time picking against Maryville until somebody actually beats them. I'll just have to be wrong on this one. But you're talking about a Maryville team that since 2003, that was the last time they missed the championship game. They've won 8 state championships from 2004 up. I'm not sure that there are programs that haven't won 8 state championships, period. So I have a tough time picking against Maryville. I wouldn't mind being wrong. Centennial at Independence in 5A.
I just think Centennial has too many pieces offensively, and then a defense that's not getting enough credit for the way they. Excuse me.
Centennial or Independence?
Independence, excuse me. Okay. Independence has an offense with too many pieces, and they have a defense that's not getting as much credit as they deserve. I like Independence in this game, a little bit closer, obviously, than the regular season game because Centennial's found some pieces themselves, but Independence wins this game and moves on to the state championship game Friday night.
I think Centennial has to play mistake-free football offensively. They have to be able to make some big plays on the offensive side of the ball, and they've got to be rock solid on defense against what we know is a great Independence attack. And even with that, I still think Independence comes out with the win. I've just thought all year that this was a state championship caliber ball club, and I think they're going to show that Friday night. I like the Eagles here. That's going to do it for our picks. Again, be sure you send your picks in to beatmostradamus at mopattonsports.com. Winners go into a drawing for a free gift card from Taziki's Mediterranean Cafe. They've got 7 locations in and around Nashville. I'm sure one of them is close to you. So get us your picks. Let's see what you got. And we'll check you out next week as we get into state championships, the Blue Cross Bowl up at Cookeville. For Kevin Smith, I'm Maurice Patton. We'll see you at the ball game.